Hey everyone, welcome back to Gotcha Interact. Lately, we recently got a new update from the developers discussion updates that Genshin gives out every once in a while, and within this update, we have been notified that we're getting world level 9 with version 5.0, and that is very exciting. I can't wait to get into this and start talking about it. And there are a few other things as well, such as the regional specialty tracking function, and we're gonna just go through this and you guys can follow along. So looking right at this first stuff, like I said, we're getting that world level 9 unlocked, and that's gonna be a big deal. And it was looking pretty interesting because now when you get to adventure rank 55, you can get to that last world level, level 8. And now that they're implementing world level 9, it's not going to be to 60, it's actually going to be to adventure rank level 58. Once you hit adventure rank level 58, a new ascension quest will become available, and you can, by doing that, reach world level 9. And there's a lot of different things that are going to be changed about your world. That kind of goes without saying once you do get to world level 9. So Vixen, what are some of these changes?
Well, as you can see here, actually, if we go down a little bit further, as you change over to world level 9, the level of normal bosses that you'll see in the world, so normal opponents, the regular Hilichurl, stuff like that, your elite opponents, usually like your Nobushi or something like that, those are going to be your kind of elite opponents, the kind of middle ground, and then your bosses like the Electro Hypostasis, the Pyro Regifine that it kind of talks about here, are going to actually be increased in their world level about 10. Now, we've actually seen this recently with other things, and especially in the Abyss and whatnot, things going over the level 90. So in my personal opinion, I'm not even sure if they're going to bring it up all the way to 90. From what I've seen and from what the game's done, we usually don't fight too many, actually in the overworld, too many times right now, even at world level 8, we don't usually fight them, around 88 or around 90. It's always at like 88 or 89 or something like that, sometimes going even a little bit lower, and very rarely do we find something at level 90 unless it's for the bosses and whatnot. So I'm going to guess that bosses are probably going to be at level 100, and then other enemies are probably going to be at level 98 and 99, and obviously kind of around that idea, and that's why it says about 10. So I'm actually kind of interested to see what they kind of do with that. But the other idea that I'm actually very, very happy to see is that world level 9 bosses will guarantee at least 3 character level up materials when you drop them. That is such a huge bonus for a lot of people, because a lot of the times when you're grabbing something and you're just trying to get as many of those materials as possible, and you need one more, and then it drops 3. Of course, the one time that a 3 is going to drop is going to be only when you need one more, or if you need 3 and then every single time it just keeps dropping 2s. That has happened so many times, and to see the consistent now, at least to see 3 character level up materials in one boss drop is going to be nice. And this could possibly mean, at least being 3, it could possibly mean that we could start getting 4 character level materials when we're at this world level 9. So I'm actually very interested to see what can actually be brought here. And the other idea actually that I do want to bring up before we go on a little bit further is the basic drop rates. So Rift, are you what are you thinking about this?
Well, I do think it's going to be very helpful for a lot of us. We actually did speak a little bit about this in a video in the past, but this is obviously a lot more official coming from Genshin themselves. So this is something we can look forward to in 5.0 for sure. And I think it's an awesome change. The Spectres being one of the most, horrible things to farm just for any character you're trying to build. They're just not fun. And with the Nobushi, the Abyss Mages, and those ruin machines, that's going to be very helpful. I don't know how much they're going to increase it by, but just an increase in general is good to hear. And one other thing that came to my mind, going back to that world level 9 boss drop, I love how they say in that little paragraph next to Paimon there, they say the rewards for defeating opponents in the open world will also be more generous. For example, defeating a world level 9 boss will generate, at least 3. It says, for example. That makes me wonder if, are we going to have a higher chance of getting more 5-star artifacts, or is it going to be more than just 1 or 2? Will that go up? Will we also have a higher chance of getting the gemstones, not just the chunks and fragments? So I don't know. That's just kind of food for thought right there. But yeah, whatever the case is, this is definitely a good change, and it's going to be very nice to see.
Well, actually, you make a good point, because as you were reading this, I was actually down here looking at this, and if you look at this almost grayed out paragraph here, I believe it almost answers your question. With the increase in world level, the drop rates for materials also increase, along with the drops from specific monsters. Obtaining enhancement materials will be much more efficient. So this could be, like you're saying, that's it talking about enhancement materials in general. So possibly weapon materials, possibly the actual weapon, enhancement ores that we already have, possibly those actual chunks and stuff like that you were talking about. So I am, even right here, just another paragraph that might back up your point. Now, if we go a little bit further, looking at the regional specialty tracking function and increasing the total map pims limit. Now, we've seen the total map pims limit increase as time has gone on. Personally, I don't use them as often because usually I just kind of run through the world and just go, blind when I'm exploring. Whereas I know a lot of other people like to throw down a pin to make sure they remember where some certain things are. I believe I throw them down for the different shrines so that I make sure I know where I can go for a shrine whenever I get another key. But at least for me, that's all I really kind of use them for. But I know that other people are going to be pretty happy to use this, especially because of stuff like this. But regional specialty tracking function, I know is going to be super helpful. Rift, what do you have to say about this? Because I know that's just going to be way more helpful. I am done trying to just find water bodies in Sumeru, trying to look for the lotuses that you can build for Layla. So I don't know. What are you thinking about this?
Well, my initial thought on it was, well, we have, different characters in the different regions that can kind of just show you exactly on the minimap where those local specialties are, which is nice. And I really like that. And I was kind of trying to think, well, how are they going to keep that function in, but also have this? And then when we, looked at this, I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. And you can see just by reading yourself too, guys, it says clicking on go to collect at the source of regional specialties will mark the location range of regional specialties. So it's just kind of show you a blue circle and kind of give you the general area, which is nice, especially just for new players who don't have a lot of those characters. Maybe for Sumeru, maybe you don't have Tainari who shows you those specialties, and of course there are others, but a lot of new players may not have any characters that are showing them where they can find different things. So this will be a nice little quality of life addition to the game, especially for players like that who just kind of want to play the game for a little bit more of a leisure and casual perspective, and it'll help them actually get to where they need to level the characters they enjoy playing with.
Now, if we actually go a little bit further beyond this, there's a new update to the crafting bench's Mystic offering. So if you look here, 8 new artifact sets can be exchanged and will be added to the Mystic offering in the crafting bench. Now, I believe we've already talked about this once again in an Interact post in the past, or in an idea looking to the future. But now, once again, like Rift was talking about, we have a definitive yes that this is going to be happening officially by Genshin Impact themselves. Looking at it here, we can see that we're going all the way back from Deepwood and Gilded, that domain, all the way up to Mer Chaussee and Golden Troop, so the beginning of Fontaine. Now, this does make sense because usually with the new region, we usually get the first set that drops in the last region. So it makes sense. The first sets that drop, the first domain that dropped for artifacts was the Mer Chaussee and Golden Troop domains. So I'm extremely excited for this because I know this is going to help a lot of people who are building not only Fontaine characters that can use Mer Chaussee and Golden Troop, but even backing that up to Desert Pavilion people who are building, their Wanderers. As his rerun came not too long ago, we even have Flower of Paradise Lost, which could also help some people who are building Nilou. Gilded Dreams and Deepwood, which is obviously very coveted sets for a lot of your Aggravate and Dendro characters. I mean, Nymph's Dream is another set that could be used for characters like Child, so if someone's trying to build up their Child, this could be helpful in the future as well. Having the opportunity to just get more strong boxes is always nice to see.
Yeah, it definitely becomes more resin efficient, you could say, and we saw that in Echoes of an Offering and the Vermilion Hereafter set, where one's for Zhao and one's for Ayato, so if you only have one of those characters, it's not completely resin efficient to do the domain when you don't have the other character, unless you're hyper building. That's a different story. But if we're talking about resin efficiency, you kind of want to spread your resources a little bit, especially if you're already you've been AR60 for almost a year or whatever. It's usually better to just use 4-piece Glad on the Ayato in that case. And so in a similar sense with some of these domains, Desert Pavilion and Flower of Paradise Lost, well, maybe someone has Wanderer but doesn't want to get these Flower of Paradise Lost pieces because they don't have Nilou and they already have Kuki on a 4-piece Gilded, and that works fine for them. So throwing in using the strong box and this now new Mystic offering set is going to be pretty nice, and it's just a good quality of life. I always really look forward to these because personally me, I have built most every character in the game, and so when stuff like this happens, I really love it because it helps me do that kind of thing a little bit faster.
Going a little bit farther, looking at the Serenity Teapot is getting a little bit more of a buff, in quote unquote. And the reason why I say that is actually, thankfully, finally, we're getting a bigger load limit for this. It's going to be a little bit bigger so that you guys can put more furnishings in the teapots, which is going to allow more people to do these crazy designs And it's actually kind of crazy to think that with such a lower load limit actually for furnishings in the Serenity pot, I think for me it was extremely difficult to kind of build what I wanted to build, but to see people still be able to build some crazy, really cool things with a little bit of a lower limit, now getting 1.6 times more, so 60% more of a limit. Now to see, I'm kind of interested to see what people can do with that. And as we go through some of this other things, we're just getting more just kind of basic stuff. We're getting the options a little bit more to automatically select the maximum amount you can craft without exceeding the limit. Just kind of some basic quality of life things that aren't as amazing as the beginning stuff with the world level, stuff like that. But the preview of excess XP converted will be displayed in the enhancement interface down here on this left. Basically, as you can see, you're obtaining it instead of it just telling you you're getting it, kind of having that pop up in the way. Forging interface is going to be a little bit better. Automatically select the maximum quantity you can currently forge instead of just one. Instead of doing this 4 times and cooking it 4 different times, now you can just do 20 all at once. And then Rift, let's go ahead and see about this next part, the personal profile display page optimizations.
So they say here, guys, in the new version, the personal profile display page will add the display of the number of characters at max friendship level, the number of stars obtained from floors 9 through 12 of the Spiral Abyss, and increase the display limit for the character showcase and name card showcase. Now, this may not seem like a huge deal, and it obviously doesn't change anything about how you actually play the game, but if you're like me, I actually really like the showcase because I always update my showcase to reflect what the banners and what characters are on the banners, because I just like to, maybe there's a new player checking out my profile and they want to know, how do I build this random 4-star that happens to be on the banner? Well, I have it in this showcase. So I like having the increase from 8 to 12 so I can kind of cover a little bit more, and especially in the past banners. Also just showing your Spiral Abyss history, your friendship. It's kind of reminding me of like how Star Rail kind of also does this. It shows like what you've done recently right under your bio. And so that's kind of cool and kind of nice. This is an update that I know I'm looking forward to.
I also like the idea actually to flex a little bit more on people, who weren't lucky, I don't know why, but you can also set up a function where you can display constellation levels, so you can show people, this person has a C6 Barba that they're very happy about, but no, it's probably, the constellations on the 5 stars that they're very happy to show, so that'll just go to show people, before, I guess it'll be less of a shock when you click on their character details and it pops up a C6 Raiden and you thought they had a bad Raiden, then you see it's at C6 and then you're like, oh, never mind, my fault, I'll be quiet now. Anyways, going a little bit further beyond this, we have the long quest prompt function. This is just a little bit more to know. It's just stating here that if there are some quests with long durations and a higher difficulty, aka the R&R quest that took 45 years for someone to complete, at that point in time, it's just going to let you know, by the way, you're going to get thrown into this. You're going to get forced into a teleportation idea. There's going to be interrupted processes and restarts that you're going to have to do. But by the time you're already 20 minutes into a quest and you realize you just want to get out of it, but if you get out of it, then you have to restart those 20 minutes and it's wasted. It's basically, once again, just quality of life, just to let you know 1 second before you start that this is going to take a minute. Sit down, grab your popcorn, and get your controller, keyboard, and mouse out because you're going to be here for a second. So that's at least nice to know. At least we're getting a little bit more of a notice before we jump into something crazy.
In addition to the aforementioned optimizations for version 5.0, to reduce the long-term game burden on you and optimize resource output, starting from version 5.0, we plan to adjust the acceptance criteria for weekly reputation quests and make adjustments to the corresponding Battle Pass missions. When the reputation level of a certain region reaches the maximum, the weekly reputation quest for that region will no longer be available. They're also going to remove the weekly reputation quests from Battle Pass weekly missions. In other words, those complete 3 requests and complete 3 bounties that some of us might always be doing every week to get the extra experience, when really it's not necessary, because I know me, I haven't been doing those for months and I still always get to Battle Pass level 50 and I don't even get the $20 version. Starting from version 5.0, the Battle Pass missions will be adjusted as follows. So in Battle Pass, this Battle Pass period, a new quest series for accumulated enhancements of 5-star artifacts will be added. Completing the quest series will grant a total of 3,600 Battle Pass experience, 60 Prima Gems, and some Sanctifying Unction or artifact enhancement stuff per period.
I do really like this idea actually, because this gives a little bit more of an incentive, as well as a little bit more primos, which we can never be mad about, of enhancing 5-star artifacts. It kind of keeps people a little bit more on the line of just making sure that they're kind of upgrading. It kind of helps those people that are late game to actually get something out of it. And so that it's kind of a little bit more focused on making sure that the people that are playing late game, the people who have been here for a while, and most Genshin players are probably at this point where you're grinding 5-star artifacts or you're leveling your 5-star artifacts. And so at this point in time, it's helping those characters or those people to actually have a reason to get on and possibly start actually keep grinding and playing the game. So it's a little bit more of an incentive to do so. Also, the daily missions are going to be 200 now for Battle Pass experience instead of 150, which is nice. It's just a little bit more, a little bit quicker to get the Battle Pass. But like Riff said, honestly, you don't even have to do a lot of the weeklies, and just keep up with the events and do some of the weeklies and don't even focus on it. Just do your dailies for the Battle Pass and also just do the events when they pop up, and you'll get to 50 by the end of the period. But either way, it's nice to know that I guess it's just going to come even quicker, which means primos are going to come quicker. So, and no one can really be mad about that. I guess from also what we're seeing here, the developers, because of the above adjustments that we're having here, I guess there's a little bit of an issue that happened. So they're going to issue 1 million Mora at one huge time. And we'll, at some point get the reminder of when that's going to come up in game as well. So, I mean, that's everything we have to say. There's a lot going on here, and, I'm pretty excited to see what they have to say. Obviously, my favorite part probably of this entire thing is probably the world level. But honestly, I guess it's part of the world level. I just really like the more optimization that we're getting in the basic drop rates, all encompassed, hopefully, whether that be, gems and, chunks and stuff like that and fragments, to the actual boss character level up materials as well. So I'm extremely hyped to see what we can actually get from that. Rift, I don't know, what was your favorite part of kind of what we could get out of this?
I mean, I would definitely agree. I think most of us veteran players here can agree that the new world level, that's something so novel. Like, it's been forever to see something like that. That's kind of a big deal. And, that talk of a few months ago, maybe, we were talking about the possible level 100 for characters, and some other people were as well. Well, this is even better because we don't have to worry about all the, cons of, well, if we have to go to level 100, does that mean more, just resources to have to use, the heroes with, the boss drop usage, all of that. Like that's going to get really expensive. And this is kind of the same thing, but just so much better on the reverse side of that, because even if you're not, leveling the characters higher, if we're increasing the world level higher, the enemies are still going to get beefier, and it's going to feel like kind of the same scenario, just in a different way. Instead of making us more powerful, we'll make the enemies more powerful, but also buff the enhancement drops and stuff like that, and you can actually build your characters faster. You can build more characters faster, and I think for me that's just the biggest takeaway from this, is the more drops also means more resin efficiency, because nothing about our character leveling is actually changing. You're just going to be able to level them faster because you're getting better use out of your resin.
Well, that's everything we've got talking about this video. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. We did go over and talk about the developers discussion. If you guys did have any ideas about this one on 8.14, please go ahead and let us know down in the comments. Let us know any other ideas, maybe what you're hoping for, and maybe trying to read between the lines of what they're saying and hope for a little bit more out of the game. Please go ahead and let us know down in the comments, and thank you guys once again for watching the video. We'll see you guys in the next one.